Okay, if everybody get a seat, we'll get started here. Welcome to the 27th Annual Induction Ceremony for the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm Jeff Jenkins, Director of Athletics at Rose-Hulman, and on behalf of the entire department, welcome to one of our favorite days of the year. Today we'll add 4 new members into the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame, joining 197 student athletes, coaches, and staff members who have received the athletic department's highest award. Today we recognize the accomplishments of 4 outstanding student athletes who helped Rose-Hulman achieve tremendous success on the playing field. These inductees help write the successful legacy of Rose-Hulman athletics we enjoy today. More importantly, our 4 inductees received a nationally recognized education that has helped each enjoy a successful career after their playing days. In fact, all of today's honorees received national recognition for both their academic and athletic prowess during their Rose-Hulman careers. As you will learn more about that later. Before we meet today's inductees, we would like to invite Rose-Hulman President Rob Coons to the podium to share a few words. President Coons recently celebrated his 30th year working at Rose-Hulman and began his current role in 2018. In addition to helping increase our visibility nationally, President Coons is a valued member of the Terre Haute community and has helped Rose-Hulman gain a presence on the boards of many distinguished local organizations. Please welcome President Rob Coons.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jeff. It's great to be here with all of you today. Tyler, Michael, Thomas, and Liz, on behalf of the entire Rose-Hulman community, welcome back to campus and congratulations. It's great to see all of you. This is one of my favorite events. It's a favorite of mine for probably a different reason than many of you. This event celebrates and reinforces for me what Rose-Hulman is all about, students first. And in this case, the student athlete. Division III aspires to be the purest form of intercollegiate athletic competition. With no scholarships, all athletes compete for the love of the sport, with the highest priority being the overall quality of the educational experience, academics first and foremost. Division III athletics remind us that our priorities are in order. However, this in no way diminishes our love for the sport, for competition, for winning, and for fair play. All of which are extremely valuable life lessons conveyed differently in a different classroom on the athletic field. Athletics play a critical role in the educational process, and a role which we pause today to celebrate 4 unique examples of. When each of you were student athletes, your outstanding work ethic, athleticism, and determination made you stand out, both in and out of the classroom. As athletes, you etched your name into the record books while inspiring your teammates to push themselves to be their best. As students, you were likewise role models and leaders for your classmates and your friends. Each of you has earned a place amongst the finest athletes ever to attend Rose-Hulman, which is what brings us here today. Tyler, your career and single-season win records were the most in a more than 30-year history of the Rose-Hulman wrestling program. Michael, your basketball skills not only made you an All-American athlete and regional pitcher of the year, baseball. Your classroom abilities ranked you among our proud list of academic All-Americans. Thomas, you excelled in both football and track and field, and you were the first 4-time academic All-American in Rose-Hulman history. And Liz, you excelled in 3 sports, were an academic All-American, and your record-setting javelin throw was the longest in school history for nearly 10 years. We'll hear a few more details about each of your collegiate athletic accomplishments in a moment, but I just wanted to hit a few highlights and let all of you know how very proud we are of each of you. You set the standard for the student athletes who came after you. And I know I speak for the entire Rose-Hulman community when I say it's an honor to add your names to our Athletic Hall of Fame. Now I'd like to invite Jeff back up to tell us a little more about each of the inductees. Thank you.
Before I introduce the four new inductees into the Hall of Fame, I want to recognize our committee members who selected today's inductees. Members of the 2019 Hall of Fame nominee committee are Vice President for Student Affairs Eric Hayes, Assistant Athletic Director Kevin Lanke, Women's Soccer Coach Senior Women's Administrator Amy Hellewell, Men's Basketball Coach Rusty Lloyd, and myself. Members of the 2019 Hall of Fame Selection Committee were Varsity Art Club President Jennifer Lawrence, Varsity Art Club Vice President Ryan Loftus, Alumni Executive Director Brandon Zollner, Women's Soccer Coach Senior Women's Administrator Amy Hellewell, Men's Basketball Coach Rusty Lloyd, Student Affairs Delegate Dr. Ashley Bernal, Student Affairs Delegate Tom Miller, the Rose-Hulman Athletic, and myself. The Rose-Hulman Hall of Fame Committee Chair is John Prevost. And the committee would also like to thank Mike Lanke and Kevin Lanke for their production of the videos that you will see shortly. Let's give the committee a hand for their services. Now it's the time you've all been waiting for. Let's meet the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2019. Today's first inductee, Tyler Goebel, is the most accomplished wrestler in Rose-Hulman history. Please enjoy his video.
Tyler Goebel turned a multi-sport athletic background in southern Indiana into one of the best wrestling careers in Rose-Hulman history. Tyler grew up as a four-sport athlete, competing in baseball, basketball, football, and wrestling. By middle school, his focus reached football and wrestling. He was a successful running back and tackler in football, but when he wrapped up in middle school at around 100 pounds, he realized that wrestling was a more likely athletic path. In middle school, Tyler was undefeated against local competition. He finished with several freestyle and folk style state championships and was a national runner-up from USA Wrestling. In high school, Tyler compiled a record of 178-16 over 4 years. He won 4 sectional titles, 4 regional titles, 3 semi-state championships, and finished in the Indiana top 5 on 3 occasions. Tyler also enjoyed the academic side of school. He enjoyed building, fixing, and tearing things apart around the house. He remembers a home woodworking shop that caused a love for math and tinkering. A native of Bloomington, Indiana, Tyler was familiar with Rose-Hulman. He realized that academics would be a focus of his college career, but that wrestling also needed to be part of his future plans. After visiting campus as a senior, Tyler decided to bring his academic and wrestling talents to Rose-Hulman. What a career it was! Tyler finished with a school record 111 wins against just 37 losses. He won 3 Mid-States Wrestling Conference championships, earned 2 All-HCAC honors, and reached the NCAA Division III National Championships as a senior. Tyler ranked first and second in single-season school history for wrestling wins, including a 37-10 mark in his NCAA qualifying year of 2009. He also earned National Wrestling Coaches Association All-Academic honors as a senior for his combination of success in the classroom and on the mat. After graduation, Tyler has worked for the NSWC Crane Naval Base. He has undergone several rotations in Afghanistan, receiving awards for contributions to the warfighter, earned a Department of the Navy Meritorious Civilian Service Award, earned a Department of the Army Achievement Medal for Civilian Service, claimed a NATO Special Operations Command Certificate of Appreciation, and won a Global War on Terrorism Medal. The remainder of his time at Crane has been in the Airborne Electro-Optics Group, supporting day and night operations for the U.S. Marine Corps helicopters and working with counter-unmanned aerial systems for the Air Force. He has also given back to the sport of wrestling by serving as an assistant coach at Bloomington South High School, his alma mater, for the last 10 years. Tyler has settled down in his hometown of Bloomington. He married his wife Emily in 2014 with daughter Addison Grace and recently added son Jackson Wayne. The balance of family life, working, and remaining with wrestling has helped the Goebel family make an impact on both Southern Indiana and the United States. Congratulations, Tyler Goebel, on your induction into the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame.
Tyler, please join me.
put this on paper, otherwise it would be pretty rough up here, but hopefully I get through this pretty easy. So, first of all, I want to say congratulations to the other inductees of the 2019 class. Although we were never teammates, competing in different sports, your names and accomplishments were well known around campus. So congratulations. For myself, this honor never had crossed my mind. I've been privileged to be coached and be around other Hall of Fame athletes, and I know what it takes to become a Hall of Fame member. When Mr. Prevost reached out over email, it was a very short, brief email. I think it said, we have some very exciting news from the athletic department. His name sounded familiar, but I wasn't real sure. The email didn't have a lot of detail, so I kind of ignored it. I think a couple days later, I got on the website, looked up Mr. Prevost. Okay, he's legitimate. But I still didn't respond. So a couple of days later, he followed up with a second email, letting me know that I was inducted into the Hall of Fame class this year. It took a minute to kind of set in. I let my family know. And I was very surprised to be inducted. I'm very honored to receive this recognition and appreciate the time and support I received while competing here at Rose. If it wasn't for Rose having a wrestling program, I probably would have never attended school here and had all these great opportunities. Hopefully Rose can bring back a wrestling program so that others can experience the same things that I was able to. All this success could not have been accomplished without a great support group from my coaches, teammates, friends, fans, and family. I'm grateful for a large group that has made it here today, and I know there are many others that wish they could have been here to help support me. So I want to say thanks to all of you. Then I would like to mention and recognize a few people individually. First off, I'll start with my parents. My parents have been here for every step of the way with this journey. All the practices, meets, wins, losses, they're there for every step. They've traveled all across the country to be there for me, and I couldn't have done any of this without them. Next, my brother. He's always been my biggest fan. I know he didn't love being dragged all around to all the meets and competitions, but he was always proud to see the success I achieved. So thank you. Next, I would recognize my high school coaches, Coach Royce Deckard and Mike Runyon, who are here today. I've been very blessed with some of the greatest coaches in the sport. They're always there pushing me, challenging me to exceed my limits, and continue to be a big supporter as I continued my college career. Now I'm privileged to be able to coach beside them, and I continue to learn each day from them. So thank you. Next, I'd like to thank my collegiate coaches, Mr. Greg Archer, Mark Booty, and Tony Karras. I haven't seen Tony yet. Is he here? He might kill me if he heard this story, but I remember he joined the coaching staff, I think, my sophomore year, and we used to ride little buses to all of our meets, and we're on our way to our first meet. Once he joined the coaching staff, I looked over to him, I said, "Have you ever been to one of these before?" He tried to come up with a good response, but I don't think he could. So he said, "No, this is my first tournament that I'm going to be going to as a wrestling coach." But that didn't take away from his ability to coach. He was always there for me, made sure I had everything I needed to compete at the highest level. So thank you to my collegiate coaches. Going through this experience and digging through boxes of awards, pictures, was a great opportunity for me. As my wife can attest, I can probably tell you just about every loss that I've had since my high school career started. But this was a great chance to go back, relive those successes that I've had along the way. After the last couple of months, I'm pretty sure she's heard every story, every detail of my wrestling career. So thanks for putting up with me throughout this process. As I mentioned earlier, I've been able to stay connected to the sport of wrestling through coaching. Since graduating, I've been a part of the high school coaching staff where I wrestled at Bloomington South. Wrestling has given so much to me, both on and off the mat, and I hope that I can give some of that back to some other young athletes. In closing, I'd like to thank, again, all those who have been a part of my journey and success. Thanks to Rose for providing me the opportunity to receive a wonderful education and compete in the sport of wrestling. And then lastly, I'd like to thank the athletic department for this humbling honor and putting this whole weekend together. You have really gone over and above to recognize myself and the other inductees. So thank you.
Today's second inductee, Michael Matsui, made marks on the Rose-Hulman baseball record book that's still staying today.
Michael Matsui used his passion for baseball and academics to become one of the best pitchers in Rose-Hulman fight engineer history. Mike spent his youth enjoying backyard sports with his family and the neighborhood kids. He remembers talking sports with his maternal grandfather and also remembers early trips to Wrigley Field with his paternal grandparents. Mike's early career featured the standard leagues and travel required for success in baseball, and he remembers tremendous support from his parents. As he became older and moved into the high school ranks, Mike remembers the competition and camaraderie for helping him develop a love of the game. In high school, Mike was the Plainfield South High School Athlete of the Year and earned all conference honors after twice being named the Team Pitcher of the Year. Off the field, Mike was developing an interest in computer science during his final 2 years of high school. After talking with baseball coach Jeff Jenkins and visiting campus, he realized that Rose-Hulman would be a great place to continue both his baseball and academic careers. At Rose-Hulman, Mike enjoyed a strong first 3 years of his career that included Team Newcomer of the Year honors. His pitching record for 3 seasons stood at 11-6, and he also hit .300 as an infielder. As a senior, Mike enjoyed one of the greatest pitching seasons in Rose-Hulman history. He finished 10-2 with a 2.08 earned run average that led HCAC conference in both wins and ERA. After helping Rose-Hulman earn a trip to the NCAA Division III tournament in a tournament run that featured the first NCAA win in program history, Mike was named the American Baseball Coaches Association Mid-East Region Pitcher of the Year and was a third-team All-American. He was named a COSIDA Academic All-American as well, helping complete the circle of athletic and academic excellence that Mike sought in his college experience. Rose-Hulman would eventually make 3 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances in 2008, 2009, and 2010, but Coach Jeff Jenkins has consistently said that the 2008 team was the best because of Mike's pitching prowess. After graduation, Mike went to work as a financial systems developer at Quantitative Risk Management in Chicago. His career path ran across several companies in New York City, and he eventually became a software engineer at Group Commerce from 2012 through 13. For the last 6 years, he has served as a senior staff engineer at Betterment in New York City. Off the field, Mike enjoys spending time with his family when possible and has enjoyed a long-term relationship with girlfriend Selena. Congratulations, Michael Matsui, on your induction into the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame.
Michael?
Also had a few words prepared because otherwise it'd kind of be a mess up here. So I'd like to start out again with also congratulating the other inductees. It's been a pretty amazing weekend so far, and so a big thank you to the athletic department here with Coach Prevost, Jamie Scott, Coach Jenkins, Coach Bendel, Kevin Lanke, and Dale Long, and everyone else sort of working behind the scenes in the athletic department. It's been a pretty cool experience to be here this weekend and being able to reminisce about like all the different things that happened while we were here, and it's pretty great. So this will come to a shock that for anyone that knows me, but I'll keep this short. I think if I go past more than a couple hundred words, we'll probably be getting to the point where that's more than anyone's actually heard me talk before. So we'll keep things brief. It's been often said that individuals are products of their environments, and in my case, I think I've been very fortunate for that to be true. I like to think that this is much more of a celebration for the folks that supported me along the way. And thinking about all the people that have supported me up until this point in athletics and in life, it's been humbling to say the least. I think the video kind of mentioned this a little bit, but I think of like my maternal grandfather hitting me baseballs in the backyard on countless summer days, or my maternal grandmother always being there, like excited to talk about games after they happened or just anything that was going on. Like, the video also mentioned this one, but my paternal grandparents taking me to Cubs games when I was a kid, or just trips into the city to play tennis and sort of fostering that love of athletics there. I think about the competition with my siblings, Ryan and Krista, playing games of basketball, football, baseball, whatever, like you name it in the backyard. So thank you for pushing me and for the peace of mind of knowing you guys are always there to have my back when push comes to shove. I think about the support I had through so many coaches, through youth sports and through high school. Specifically like coaches Thomas, Quigley, Robinson, Rasplitch, Dailies, and so many others. And I also think about the support that I'm fortunate enough to have today with my girlfriend Selena, sister-in-law Pam, nephew Kai, and aunts and uncles. And I also don't say this enough, but to my parents, I'm truly appreciative of what you've done and the sacrifices you've made to get me here. Mom, I think about you thanklessly and tirelessly working midnights so that Ryan, Krista, and I could go and participate in activities like baseball and band and softball. Dad, I think about you as always supportive, camera in hand, of course, both enabling and capturing so many different memories. So for my parents, like family vacations became road trips for baseball around the country. I can remember drives from the Pocono Mountains, but from Pennsylvania back to Chicago, just to make it back in time for an All-Star game. Or there's the trip out to Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame week there in a tournament when I was 12 years old. Even having grown up a bit, I have a hard time expressing how thankful I am for all the time and energy and love that went into it. Then on to Rose-Hulman baseball. I've been trying to think of a story or two to tell that kind of captured all the camaraderie and support and all I couldn't really come up with a story. It kind of came back to a bunch of little things. So I remember practice getting out and trying to rush it to make it back to the dining hall before it closed, but then just ending up at Fazoli's for an hour or two. Or running sprints with Luis for conditioning, or Luis calling everyone at 3 a.m. after we finding out that we made the NCAA tournament. He was pumped full of adrenaline and probably on very little sleep. I can remember talking baseball with Decker at 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. or also making trips out to his parents' house in Seymour for Oktoberfest. Remember learning from the examples of the classes above us, specifically Hochstadler's toughness and just leadership in general. Just spring breaks, hanging out with the baseball houses at the time, the dugout and the sandlot. I can remember Joe Val decoding the other team's signs, and which kind of come to think of it, it's probably kind of a thing for Houston. Having watched the World Series and everything. I can remember a trip to the baseball stadiums on the East Coast after we graduated with Daters, Foki, Joe Val, and Deck. Watching the classes after us succeed with folks like Nick Rumpke, Gannon Sadzik, Keenan Long, Chandler, TP, and then just being able to watch them be successful both on and off the field. I can remember keeping tallies of double plays turns on their hats. I remember all the support from the people in the dugouts with Dr. Artigue always being there, and on the parents that are showed up for the games even after their sons had graduated. I remember advice and just stories from Coach Mack and Coach DJ. And then you can always remember a motivational speech from Coach Jenkins, or like the sense of family that Coach B brought. And that's even translated today with the random trips across countries, random phone calls, texts out of the blue. And I sort of say all these things because it's the culmination of a lot of little things that remind me of how much the sport I've had, and it can continue to remind me of how fortunate I've been. And that's led to the bigger things of today, of being able to attend each other's weddings and things like that. So I want to especially call out and give a big thank you to Coach B and Coach Jenkins for giving me the opportunity to do this and enabling us to make the most of it. So sort of in closing, if I've done one thing well, it's make the most of opportunities that not everyone's been fortunate enough to get, and that's a lot of that's the product of the people in this room and elsewhere. So thank you.
Today's third inductee, Thomas Reeves, is a decorated Rose-Hulman student athlete in multiple sports and in the classroom.
Thomas Reeves turned the passion for sports, mathematics, and engineering into a historic athletic and academic career at Rose-Hulman. Thomas grew up in Indianapolis and developed a passion for youth sports at Tabernacle Church. He played nearly everything there and learned the concept of competition through the sport of chess. In the early years, the team struggled. Eventually, the Indianapolis-based team would enjoy success at some of the largest and richest prep schools in the country, with newspaper stories written about the little team from Crispus Attucks Middle School that was winning state and national championships. On the athletic field, Thomas played soccer, was the kicker in football, ran track, and played basketball. He earned 2 letters in each sport and, despite several talented individuals, played on teams that would often struggle to win. Thomas did earn honorable mention All-State honors as a punter and qualified for the IHSAA championships in the high jump. He also played soccer and developed an interest in playing at the college level. Off the field, Thomas had a strong interest in math. When filling out questionnaires and indicating a liking for math, engineering started to show up as a career option. Thomas credits his parents, Tommy and Jean, for getting him involved in nearly every engineering introductory program in Indianapolis: the Minority Engineering Program of Indianapolis, National Society of Black Engineers Junior, and the Minority Engineering Advancement Program, just to name a few. He won several competitions and concluded that engineering could be a career path. He worked at Rolls-Royce for half the day as a senior in high school and also attended classes at IUPUI. Thomas was far enough under the radar that Rose-Hulman wasn't really recruiting him. It was actually a physics teacher at Arsenal Technical High School that put a Rose-Hulman application in Thomas's hands. From there, the rest is a piece of Rose-Hulman history. Thomas became the first 2-sport academic All-American in school history, earning 2 awards in football and 2 in track and field. He was the 2008 HCAC Field Athlete of the Year and was a 4-time HCAC and SCAC Individual Event Champion. On the football field, he hauled in 71 receptions for 1,504 yards and a school record receiving average of 21.18 yards per catch. He was also a member of the first HCAC track championship team in 2008. He completed an undergraduate career in track and field and had 1 academic All-American award in football before deciding to return to complete a master's degree at Rose-Hulman. He would later earn a 2nd academic All-American award in football, along with completing degrees as an undergraduate in mechanical engineering in 2008 and a graduate degree in engineering management in 2010. After graduation, Thomas continued to serve his alma mater with various roles for the Rose-Hulman Board of Trustees. He is a long-term member of the Eli Lilly and Company, today serving as manager for Reach and Bolt Engineering. Outside of work, Thomas and his wife Shakira live in Indianapolis with children Carmine and Roe. The Indianapolis native has maintained residence in central Indiana and now resides in Brownsburg. Congratulations, Thomas Reeves, on your induction into the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thomas.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Reeves, as you just heard. I am very honored and humbled to be recognized in front of all of you here today, my family, my teammates, my coaches, and those friends that I would also call family. I'm still pretty much in awe in how life works. All the trials and victories that I've shared with some of you in life, I cannot say that I actually saw this moment coming. But I am so grateful that the day has arrived. Before I get into my story, I would like to thank a few people. Because of them, without them, this wouldn't be possible. To my beautiful wife, thank you for being there and supporting me in all my flaws. You have blessed me not only with a best friend, but with a life partner, and also 3 handsome sons and soon to be a young princess. You speak to me in truth, love me in my weaknesses, and challenge me for better. You and our children are my reason, and I love you. To my parents, you gave me everything in a time when I couldn't possibly realize what I had. You were there for everything. And I thank you and love you for making me, literally. And molding me into the person that I am today. You sacrificed so much so that I could flourish in this world, and I can never repay you. To my friends and family who are here today, my aunt and my uncle, my cousins, my boys, I appreciate you. This day and your presence did not come by mistake. Almost to a flaw with everything I do it to make you all proud. To represent you and where we come from in life, and with every move I take, I represent you and I thank you all. To my coaches along the way who have made this moment possible, thank you, Coach Cole, who was actually the first coach at Rose to recognize my potential and challenge me to be a better athlete. To Coach Englehart, who was actually a track assistant at the time, and the ultimate reason I ever played football. To Coach Lloyd in high school, where we didn't win a single football game in 4 years. However, he, as the punter, he saw something in me more and tried to challenge me every year to be a wide receiver, but I just didn't want to do it. I was more intrigued and in love with soccer. So this recognition in this day is for all of us. As I look back on most of my life, again, none of this was supposed to happen. I spent a lot of my time trying to fit in, trying to do different things to prove to myself as well as to others I was enough. Enough to fit in some cases, enough to be there, and in other cases, enough just to be normal. My competitive spirit probably began when my parents signed me up for chess. It wasn't something that our school was doing in the 90s. I think we actually started the chess club at Lew Wallace Elementary. In our first tournaments, there were a lot of tears. We cried a lot. We got demolished. We came out here to Dixie B and played in places like Orchard Country Day School. There's another school out here in Terre Haute where chess was pretty big, and these were where some of our larger tournaments were, and we lost. We lost a lot. But we ended up learning, sticking together, notating, and ultimately getting better, and as you heard, having national as well as state recognition. Jump into middle school, I went to Crispus Attucks. I played 4 sports. I was good, but I probably wasn't a standout. I played soccer at Tabernacle Church. We started our own travel club, and a lot of our jerseys and things we had to get kind of donated to us, and things out in the community who wanted to see us survive and strive in this life. I mean, we had great athletes. Those types of athletes like the Casberg brothers, Matt Rimstead, Gabe Smith, George Hill, Greg Saunders, and more. We all grew up, went different directions, but again, that was the competitive spirit that was then fostered from where we came from. Middle school was also the time that my mom battled breast cancer. She also taught me how to stand tall in the face of adversity. And I look at her today, I think it's December 8th. It'll be 21 years since the diagnosis of breast cancer, and you've continued to be my rock through life, and I love you and I thank you. Mom, I remember everything, the struggles, the loss of strength. I think in middle school I was probably wearing my dad's clothes at one point, folding over the waistline. All the struggles that we had and to completely rebuild our lives, and following that in high school and in college. I remember one time she wasn't there, probably my senior year at some event, and everybody was like, what's going on? Because she was a staple at everything no matter where it was across this country, to be present for her son. So then we fast forward to high school. I came to IPS. I was a good athlete, playing sports, captain of the soccer team. As you heard, I was only a kicker and punter in high school. We had some of the best athletes in the city, and a lot of people probably wouldn't believe me in that, but a lot of our team played both ways. I think we had probably 7 or 8 guys that played both ways for 4 quarters just about every single game. And to the very last game of not winning any all 4 years, gave it all. We had some people play D3, D1, but again, I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything in the world. Same thing goes with track. We had some success there. We were top in the city, probably number 3 behind Cathedral and Chittard, I think it was, and then top in the IPSAC. But again, these relationships and the ability to build really led all of us to the point that we are today. So to my high school teammates, all of them sitting here, thank you. Again, this wouldn't have been possible without any of that. So how did I end up at Tech? I actually have no idea. I'm sorry, how did I end up at Rose? I actually have no idea. I filled out an application because it didn't require an essay at the time. And that was about it. It was in the middle of class. I filled it out, turned it in, and waited on financial aid to come back and went on about my day. Once it came back and I got financial aid, then I said maybe I should go and visit. I still remember sending Coach Cole and Coach Hodder emails saying, hey, I'd like to play for your school if that's okay. And at the time, I was looking again just to play, to be counted, to make a team, to do something, because that was a part of my identity. Freshman year, I was on the JV soccer team. This meant that I practiced with the women's soccer team at the time, so I got to meet Hall of Famer Jen Gordon, or Jen Bross, Sarah Graber, Rachel Miller, other friends that I played with that became brothers in ATO, Alex McLean, Jeff Pekarik, a number of people. But again, that year left me less than fulfilled with soccer at the moment. And again, my story isn't one of immediate success, but doubt coming here from the inner city, doubt coming here, not a known athlete or entity, doubt that led me to play JV, not really get any airtime in soccer, and whether or not I could actually make it either in sports or in academics. Little known fact, I also went to try out for basketball. Did that for about 2 days. But again, I decided to focus on track and field, which ultimately turned out well for me, and that's where I met Coach Cole and also Englehart, where they said, you know what, if you can sprint and high jump, if we can catch a ball, you might be something dangerous. But mind you, I never played wide receiver, and I think I was probably 150 pounds, soaking wet, in pads, out in the storm, listening to Heavy D, ankle weights. So I wasn't very big, and the first time I actually came to camp, or one of the spring practices, I was supposed to lift 185 pounds, and I couldn't do it, couldn't at all, right? So there again, trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? But Coach E recruited me, he wanted me, and so that's where I said, hey, I need to go here because I think I could belong here and make something of it. So flipping back over to academics, I was below in the SAT averages. People see some of the GPAs and think things came easy. But I spent a ton of time in the library between classes because one of the things that I couldn't do is go back home and say that I failed. When I came here, I represented not only just a lot of people that looked like me from the inner city, Indianapolis, but I represented my family, I represented my friends, and that wasn't something I could do, just bottom line. So now, as a sophomore entering football camp, I had limited success at this point. Coach E probably hyped my arrival up too much, and we're all trying to see what I could do, myself included. But again, I don't think I caught my first touchdown my sophomore year until the last game at Earlham. It was a 70-yard pass from Cameron Hummel, and I remember it because Coach Cole, Matt Cole, came over and wiped my hands down before I went into the game. Was like, we're going to throw you the ball. It's like, have you ever seen Little Giants where he's trying to throw you the ball? But it was very much an experience like that, and you know, it really doesn't matter if my eyes were closed or not, but I caught it. And when I went into the end zone, I don't know if anybody has it on film, all I could do was jump up and down nonstop until some of my teammates came over and said, it's time to go to the sideline. I kid you not. If anybody has that video, it's hilarious. But it's hard to believe that just a few games before that, I almost quit. It was fall break. We were going to Milliken because we were in the SCAC at the time. And I never really traveled with the team, and I got the opportunity to travel because Charlie Key, who is a Hall of Famer now as well, injured his elbow, I think it was. And so he wasn't traveling with us. I got to suit up. Thanks. It was fall break. So I was sober and practicing. By the way, Mom, I never drank till 22. I was practicing instead of being on fall break. But when we actually got there, I was excited about playing. Then all of a sudden, Charlie Key is going to fly in to play the game. It was a 13-hour bus ride to Milliken, and I ended up not dressing. Rode all the way back home over fall break and really thought about quitting. But again, that wasn't in me, and I said I'll get it to the end of the season and reevaluate it, and then after that catch at Earlham, the rest was history. Ended up being most improved my junior year because I said I could do it. I went to the gym all summer. Then receiver of the year, other things that you heard. All this are looking up to players like Nate Richter. I looked up to everything that he did at one point. Justin Meade, Reed Eason, Derek Idle, Steve Hawkins, Austin Hastings, Paul Spreen, Drew Christie. All those had love for the game and really showed me how to find my way and love the game that they grew up playing, for sure. We turn to the track and field side, where coach would probably say I was never really focused enough. I pulled my hamstring just about every first meet of the indoor season. Winning just came a bit easier, but it's funny because my dad always asked me what was the most important thing I did at Rose. And he to this day says it's the sophomore year when I won high jump in the SCAC. Was the only champion that year on our track and field team, which continued a streak of track and field champions that remains to this day. So that was a shock to me as I was preparing for today. So that's a little bit about my story as far as track and field and football are concerned. Senior year, it was all about the team. After struggling to qualify for nationals in high jump my junior year, I came in 13th in high jump in the nation, where the championship or the national championships were at Rose-Hulman, and they took a field of 12. So instead of participating, I ended up volunteering, which it was still a good event. But then senior year became all about the team, and you heard we won the very first HCAC championship. Did it in dramatic fashion. I got to know people like Matt Repking, right, who's sitting in the back, who spent some time with me and my family as well. On the backs of people like Travis Vanderberg, Mike Burris, EJ Aruche, Marcus Peck, Paul B., Jack Lee. All of these people brought it together for a team victory that day. And Coach, I think we sang "We Are the Champions" the entire bus ride home, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how you can do that, but it's a long song, I guess. But being an athlete prepared me for life. For those of you who don't know, my wife and I gave birth to our first sons in 2017 at 26 weeks. It was the scariest time of my life. They were twins, or are twins. We lost our oldest son on Father's Day that year, just 9 days after giving birth. And Carmine stayed in the hospital for about 6 months before receiving a tracheostomy, then coming home. He's here today, and everything that we've gone through with him, he continues to smile, to develop, and be the inspiration of my life. My experiences have taught me how to persevere through adversity. They have afforded me the opportunity to build a strong foundation for my family, and I thank my teammates, friends, and family who have been around to help us grow, because that's what it's all about, is the growth that we experience in life. Sports teach us so many things. For me, it was the first time that I found passion. It challenged me and stretched me as a person to my limits and potential. Competing, whether in the classroom or on the field, across the board, is where I've always felt at home and where I've always felt I belonged. And today, as I look at the other inductees here and all of you represented in your love, this moment makes me really feel that I do belong. And I'm excited to be here represented with these talented folks in the front. At the end of the day, after all the awards I've collected dust, my greatest accomplishments in life will hopefully be able to call me dad. I've learned that it is not always what you achieve in life that matters, but who you become in the process. Hopefully, when I'm long gone, people will talk highly of my character, our experiences, and the way I made them feel. I hope my kids remember me as a great person and father, and I just happen to play a couple of sports and go to Rose as well. So as I close, I want to once again thank you. I thank the selection committee, congratulate the rest of the inductees, and may the sun continue to shine down on all of us. May God bless you all, and go Rose.
Today's final inductee, Liz Ridgway Krasowski, helped Rose-Hulman achieve in not one, not two, but 3 varsity sports in its standout career.
Liz Ridgway turned her focused, goal-oriented childhood dreams into one of the best multi-sport athletic careers in Rose-Hulman history. Liz competed in athletics at multiple levels in her youth and was indirectly pushed by the accomplishments of her sister Sylvia. She enjoyed the change of season as a youth in Michigan because she played multiple sports. Liz was most adept at soccer, but also enjoyed success in volleyball and basketball. When she followed her sister to high school, Liz saw the Athletic Wall of Fame posted for those who received first-team All-State honors. After declaring to her parents that "I will be on that wall someday," she proceeded to do so by earning first-team All-State honors in soccer. Liz dreamed of following her mother's footsteps and compete in college sports. Liz's mother played field hockey and earned a civil engineering degree at UMass, and Liz decided to pursue college soccer. After earning a spot on the Olympic development soccer team, she was recruited to the University of Michigan and later transferred to Northwestern to play varsity soccer. After breaking her L4 vertebrae in 2 places, the medical staff shut down her fall season. Liz realized the overall time commitment in NCAA Division I Big Ten athletics did not match her hopes of successfully pursuing an engineering degree. So instead, Liz transferred to Rose-Hulman with 3 years of eligibility left. Liz enjoyed the priority of academics while still having the chance to compete at a high level under then head coach Brad Hodder. In addition to earning 3 first-team All-HCAC honors, Liz was a member of Rose-Hulman's first NCAA women's soccer team in 2007. While working out in the training room, she became friends with Katie Tharp and Katie Hamstra, who convinced her to join them on the basketball team. Liz says the fans, highlighted by their spelling out of "Give me an R, give me an O," all the way to Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, is one of the memories of basketball that makes her smile. In her second year at Rose-Hulman, Liz was running around the track one afternoon, and Coach Larry Cole asked if she would consider joining the team. She said she had no experience with track or throwing events, but that her sister had thrown in high school. That was enough for assistant coach Christy Sherman, who unsuccessfully tried to teach her the discus before very successfully teaching her the javelin. In Liz's first college meet, with her first college javelin throw, she broke the Rose-Hulman school record in the event. Liz held that javelin school record for another 8 years. She also competed in high jump and triple jump and enjoyed the team camaraderie. Liz originally had her interest in engineering begin with trips to construction sites or water treatment plants. She developed a love for physics and says her favorite Rose-Hulman class was structures with Dr. Hansen. She enjoyed a strong academic career and was recruited by ExxonMobil's project management division. She has enjoyed working on mega projects and meeting deadlines. That 3.92 GPA she earned as an undergraduate, yep, that was enough to earn her a spot on the COSIDA Academic All-America team in soccer. Liz and her husband Matt reside in Texas and have 2 daughters, Delia and Ellis. She claims that life couldn't be better. Liz says that between a dream job working for one of the best companies in the world, where she met her amazingly supportive husband, and having a young and happy family, that life can't get much better. She believes that Rose-Hulman helped her get where she is today, highlighted by her love of sports, professors, teammates, and the student body during her fight and engineer career. Congratulations, Liz Ridgway Krasowski, on your induction into the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame.
The problem with giving Mr. Lanke your speech ahead of time is he used a lot of it, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, thank you so much to the board for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. I am completely and utterly astonished by this awesome honor. Congratulations to all the other inductees. It's great to see you all. Some of you I was friends with, some of you I've heard your names, obviously. So it's neat to see you all again and see a lot of our friends meeting back up too, which was nice. When I was a kid, I had a T-shirt that read, "I'm not a tomboy, I'm an athlete." In all honesty, I was totally a tomboy. And I kind of developed into an athlete. And if any of my two Rugrats are, you know, any indication of this, I was a little bit of a troublemaker too. At 8 months old, I learned to run, not walk, like I just was running. And it resulted in 5 sets of stitches before I turned 3. Delia's only at 2, so I got her beat. But I was actually a shrimp growing up. I know I'm quite tall, Amazon-like now, but my sister was much taller. She was like in the 98th percentile of height and weight, and I was a shrimp. And I'd always look up to her, and I'd tell my parents, "I'm going to be big like Sylvia someday." And they're like, "Ugh, keep eating," like there's no way. But eventually I did make it. And when we were in high school, there was pictures on the walls for anyone who made the state, had all state honors. And I also told them I'm going to be on the wall someday. And they were hopeful, but hopeful. But I always loved competition, all competitions, with my sister, my friends, other competitors. I loved all games, all sports, even typing in high school. I'd be typing away, and at the end of the minute, "What'd you get? 64, 65, yes!" I was always really excited. Even competed with my husband on guessing the proper number of trains the other day as we got railroaded in Terre Haute. I was closer. But growing up in Michigan, you get the beauty of the 3 seasons. And so with a new season came a new sport. I dabbled in tennis and softball, but my main sports were volleyball, basketball, and soccer. My favorite sport was soccer. And as the video told you, that my mom was a big inspiration for me in college. Sorry, I'm gonna cry. Dang it, I told you. I didn't think I was going to, but he's right. Growing up, my mom played field hockey, and she got her civil engineering degree at University of Massachusetts. And she was the captain. It was a big inspiration for me to know that I could do it. I could always had the knack. I always wanted to be an engineer. Both my parents are civil engineers, so I always felt like I was bred for it. But I also loved competition, and so to see that my mom was able to do that and be the captain, be this leader, and run her own business at 29 years old, that's successful to this day. It's just such an inspiration to me. And so obviously the bar was set very high. So I actually started off at University of Michigan. Both my parents went to University of Michigan, one for their masters, and so I thought I too had to go to University of Michigan, and I was a walk-on student. And I was 17 when I started college, so they said I could play with my high school team still, even though I was a college student. So it's kind of like a red shirt, kind of neat. And with that, I wasn't going to make the team. I played in the spring, but they weren't going to have me, and so they allowed me to transfer to Northwestern, even though they're in the same division. And so they offered for me to transfer, and the NCAA blessed it, which was hard, but happened. And when I was at Northwestern doing 2-a-day practices, I broke my L4 vertebrae, just slipped in the rain and wrenched it wrong and broke it in 2 places, so I couldn't play that fall either. I ended up playing in the spring, and I just realized that sports at that level is a job, and it's a job here too, but slightly different in that just engineering there and the amount of attention in the locker rooms and the trainings and the things. It was just too much, and so I needed to transfer. And I applied to Rose-Hulman 3 times. I got in all 3 times, but the first time I applied, I turned it down. The second time I applied, I turned it down. The third time I applied, they said, yeah, right, we know what happens. We're not letting you in this time. And I had to promise, pinky promise, that if you let me in, I will come. And luckily, Brad Hodder vouched for me, and here I am. So Brad Hodder with soccer, he recruited me when I was on the ODP team. And so we stayed in touch over the years, and I showed up. And when I first got here at Rose, it was just so amazing to me. One of my favorite stories is telling about how I'd never been to campus before. I went to one of the football games, and there was a injury or timeout or something was called, and everyone in the crowd is Pie. And I'm like, what? I'm looking through the name. Is there a guy named Pie? You know, what's going on? Pie, and like everyone's standing up and cheering, and only to look at the scoreboard with 3 minutes and 14 seconds left. And I thought, these are my people, all right, you know. So, yep. So, working with or playing for Coach Hodder was amazing. He really helped me. He was competitive. He was optimistic. He was empathetic. He valued me, and he really pushed me to play as a team. I mean, obviously, I've played as teams before with all my coaching, but he helped me even when he put me in positions I didn't particularly want to play. One time, he wanted me for a whole season. He put me as left mid. I'm left-footed and right-footed, but he played me as a left mid, and I was super bummed. You know, I just finished my first season where I scored 19 goals in a season, so I thought, this is my time. I can put me back as forward. And he said, no, we need you in the left. And I was like, you're crazy. What are you doing? And but that was the year that we went to the NCAA tournament. So obviously he had some method to that madness. And I'd like to say that I never questioned him again, but that's surely not true. But he was an amazing man, amazing coach, and it was an amazing team. And I wanted to send a special thank you to Brad and all those teammates for helping me join the Hall of Fame today. But my luck at Rose continued that fall. I had a particularly rough day, and I was in the training room, and Katie Tharp, who played volleyball, said, why don't you come to Steak and Shake with me and some of the friends who are going to play basketball? And I was like, okay, you know, and I'm, as I said, Amazon, tall lady. You're a lady, 20% female school. You must play basketball. Want to come play basketball? Yeah, I guess I did. So over Steak and Shake, we decided, Katie Hamstra, Katie Vodolato, and Katie Tharp. So it was Prevo's first year coaching, Coach Prevo, and obviously he made quite an impression because he's still here, and I'm so glad that he is. And some of my favorite memories was some of our pregame rituals. I had to always make a layup, which sounds easy to you all, but it was difficult for me, okay? In a layup in a particular order before any game started, and I'd stand there even when the ref was like, come on, it's time to start. I was like, no, I have to make this layup. The give me the ROSE-HULMAN took the whole time out. I loved those ones too. And then also I scored my first and only three-pointer in the last 10 seconds of the HCAC championship game my junior year. There was a special play called out where it was supposed to go to me at half court. They were going to throw it to me, and then I was going to throw it to Susie Carlson, who's in the Hall of Fame, or Jill, obviously, the people with the best shooting percentages. And they threw it to me, and the other team, Transylvania, knew that to go to them. So all 5 people were standing by those 2, and they threw me the ball, and what am I to do? I turned around and I panicked. I just threw it up there. And Coach Prevo is going, no, yes, timeout. And I still remember that, his face. We lost by 1 point, but it was a hell of a run, so. I just want to send a special thank you to Coach Prevo and Katie Hamstra Vodolato, and my other teammates for helping me achieve this amazing honor. Lastly, in my second year at Rose, my uh, fourth year in school, for those who aren't counting. I was running around the track to keep in shape, and Coach Cole saw me, and he came up to me and said, "Do you want to join the team?" And I panicked a little bit because this body's not made for sprints, all right? And so he's like, "No, no, no, for field." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds better. That sounds more my speed." So we did try discus, and I recently found the video, and I sent it to Kevin of my first discus throw, and I threw it way outside the vector, almost at somebody, and I just yelped, because I thought, no, I'm not good at twisting. This was not for me. And I looked, and Coach Sherman said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "The long pointy stick, that looks easier." So I threw the javelin, and I did pretty well. And on my first meet, I broke the school record. And I'm not sure if they'd measured wrong or if it was beginner's luck, because I never threw that far again. But it was still just super fun. And I did dabble in high jump and triple jump. By the way, whoever invented that, I don't know what they were on, because why would you ever move in that way? But it's interesting. But what really struck out to me about track, and the thing that I loved the most about it, was that it's a team competition, but while being an individual contributor. And I'd never been on a sports team in that way, and I really loved it. I loved being around Trandis Vanderberg, Nate Bloss, Thomas Reeves while on that team, and it was amazing to watch these amazing athletes compete, and of course try my best while they're watching me and cheering me on. I have a special place in my heart for track, and I feel so lucky that Coach Cole and my teammates invited me there and welcomed me there and cheered for me, and I thank them for the amazing experience, even if I wasn't very good at it. And well, since those days, I still play. I work full-time. I gave birth to two beautiful children and do my best to help my husband manage our very, very busy household. But I do still play soccer every Sunday. And it's far less competitive in this old lady league, as I like to call it. But it gives me my soccer fix. And I even if my body doesn't perform to the way my brain remembers my 18-year-old self. And to quote my grandpa Ray, he would always say, "The older I get, the better I was." So as a transfer student, I always felt sort of like Goldilocks. You know, my first school, it was too big. My next school was a little crazy. And finally I'm at Rose, and it was just right. And I'm so grateful for Rose allowing me to play competitively. I was in the school play. I was the Wicked Witch of the West. I still know some of the lines, and that was really fun. And still get a 3.82 GPA as a civil engineer. I very much value the professors, especially Dr. Hansen, for guiding me and choosing some good courses and some setting me up for success with construction management. And Dr. McKinney, who also influenced me, helped me with internships and helped me with some scholarships in order to make it easier here at Rose. And I just thank Rose-Hulman so much for helping me get where I am today. From Rose, I was recruited to ExxonMobil's project management division, and in the past 10 years, I've worked on some mega projects, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar projects, and some small projects, always ensuring safety, quality, cost, and schedule. And I have my dream job working for one of the best companies in the world, and where on my first day of work met my amazingly supportive and very witty husband, Matt. And I have a really nice work-life balance for our two beautiful and brilliant children, Delia and Ellis. I love my time at Rose, and I love the sports. I thank you, the board, for this honor. I thank you, the professors, for the time and effort that you put in to help shape me. I thank my coaches for all the time and effort that you also helped shape me. And my teammates for helping me achieve these goals. And the students that became my lifelong friends, like Avery Gore, who's here today, one of the strongest women I know, and has had a beautiful life story, and I'm so glad I could be a part of it. Katie and Kelly Votolato, and Patrick and Amanda Claysmith. And most importantly, crying again, I want to thank my parents, Jim and Karen Ridgway, for always supporting me, loving me, and encouraging me to reach my dreams. Mom, thank you so much for coaching me and my team and teaching me the fundamentals, including being left-footed, getting a Jolly Rancher anytime I scored with my left. Thank you both for listening to my woes. Dad, thank you for driving 6 hours on a Wednesday night for a basketball game just to turn back around and drive 6 more hours and make sure you got to the Dairy Queen in time. Thank you for watching every performance of The Wizard of Oz. There was 9 of them. And he went to India in between, so it's kind of a big deal. Thank you for cheering me on at every turn and being here to share the sun with me. I literally wouldn't be here without you, and thank you both so much. All right, congratulations to all the other inductees. You all really deserve it. And go Rose. Yeah, thank you.
Let's have one more outstanding hand for this record-setting group. Just a couple housekeeping items for the inductees and their families. Now we have lunch down in the mezzanine of the basketball arena, and then we reconvene for the football game at 1:30, and you'll be honored at halftime of the football game. And then please remain here. We're going to get some photos, and family and friends, please stay and get photos with the group and their friends. And again, thank you to everyone for attending today's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Congratulations again to the 4 outstanding new members of the Rose-Hulman Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you.